Hello guys, it's a beautiful fall day and I'm out here in my backyard. We'll be making kimchi today. In late fall, Koreans make large quantities of kimchi to last through winter and well into spring. People don't make as much kimchi as my mother's generation used to, but we still do kimjang, and as you can see, I'll be making a lot of kimchi today. However, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make kimchi with one cabbage, so you can try your hands at making kimchi at home. Start with the one cabbage, start with this small batch, and then work your way up. It will be easy to double or triple the recipe. Let's get started. So when you buy a cabbage, look for something around 5.5 pounds. We're going to cut the cabbage, only the white part, 3 to 4 inches in. And then pull it apart. Just wiggling a bit. Sometimes when the cabbage is big and packed inside, this will be hard to do. In that case, you just cut it through with a knife. But do the same thing for each half. And then we have 4 quarters. We do this so we don't unnecessarily cut the leaves. They separate naturally this way. We use coarse sea salt to salt cabbages. For this size of cabbage, we're gonna need 1 cup of salt and 5 cups of water. First, we're gonna make salt water with 5 cups of water and only a half cup of salt. Let's just dissolve the salt in water. If Korean sea salt is not available to you, just use pickling salt, any kind of natural salt you can find in your local grocery stores. Give it a nice bath here. Just make sure that the water gets in between the leaves. If you are using finer salt, make sure you use much less. With the remaining half cup of salt, we're gonna sprinkle this white parts of cabbage. It's very thick, so it really needs extra help. Just grab some and just throw it in there generously. So what happens if you run out of salt? Just use a little more. That's okay. And what if you have leftover? Sprinkle over the white part, like that. Okay? Salting is done. Now we have to let this thing sit for about 6 to 8 hours. It really depends on your cabbage. So make sure you rotate them around every 3 hours or halfway through at least. This has been sitting for 8 hours. Cabbage is ready when it's easily bendable, like this. It could have some resistance actually for this one cabbage kimchi. It's okay. You need to rinse the cabbage 3 times, shaking in the water, gently rubbing off the white parts. That's where the lingering salt is. And make sure you get all this. And this is the second time. Okay, this is the 3rd time and the last time. So the cut side down to drain water. Get a piece and taste it. It should be slightly salty, but should be okay to eat. If it's too salty, your kimchi is gonna be salty. So how do you troubleshoot that? Just rinse one more time, and don't do this all the time, but if it's too salty, leave it in the water a little bit, okay? This is fine. It's salted very well and rinsed very well. So we're gonna move on to kimchi stuffing. Let me start with two things that we're gonna have to cook. One is dashima broth. Koreans make all sorts of complex broth to make kimchi, but with this one cabbage, just a little bit of dashima broth can give you some flavors. And we're gonna add about 1.5 cups water and just boil it for a few minutes. I made 1 cup of dashima broth, and I'm gonna use a 1/2 cup to make sweet rice paste. Just 1/2 cup, 1 tablespoon sweet rice powder. Mix it really well before you turn your heat on. Stir occasionally. Okay, this is done now, so the consistency of this paste is like this. So first thing is gochugaru. Gochugaru is very important for kimchi, and we Korean moms look for the best gochugaru we can find. It's a lot more expensive, but it's totally worth it. By the way, you can actually keep your gochugaru in the freezer, not fridge. It won't freeze, but it will keep really well for a long time. Saeujeot and fish sauce. Those are the two most common seasoning ingredients for kimchi. My mom always also used fresh shrimp. I do it too. It's about 2 ounces. Finely chopped. So the protein in shrimp will break down in kimchi seasonings and develop really delicious flavor. I like to grate ginger on one of these because ginger is very fibrous. First, I'm going to put together the seasoning mix, and then we'll cut the vegetables and add. Gochugaru. This recipe takes about 1/2 cup of gochugaru, but it really up to you. If you want a spicier, then add more. 3 tablespoons of fish sauce. What you can do with saeujeot is you just squeeze out the liquid. And you can either chop it or just rub it, like crush it. This is very tiny shrimp, so I'm just gonna crush it like this. Next up is our sweet rice paste we made. It makes kimchi stuffing a little pasty, so it works as a binder, actually like glue. And it also gives the kimchi natural sweetness and feeds the healthy bacteria, promoting the fermentation. Shrimp that we just chopped, and 3 tablespoons of garlic, and ginger. Mix it all up. A 1/2 cup of dashima broth that I saved. It needs some help from the liquid. Seasoning mix looks nice and pasty. Korean radish. This is about 1 pound. When you clean radish, don't peel the skin off. That's where lots of nutrition and fiber is. So just scrape off these brown spots. We're gonna cut this into matchsticks. It's pretty big, so if you cut it like this, it will be harder for you. So just let's make it easy and make it shorter like that. You can always use your mandolin, your trusted mandolin, to do this. If few at a time. This is the most difficult part for a lot of people, so just do it slowly, a few at a time. Next, Korean pear. We just need 1/4 of this. So this tastes a little peppery and mustard-like, similar to mustard green. So all our vegetables are ready. Now I'm gonna start mixing the seasoning here. So let's mix radishes first. See how it's nice and thick, pasty? It will become more liquidy if you let it sit like that. And we're gonna add our green vegetables. And then mix it again. This time, just toss gently. Taste a little. If this is too salty right now, your kimchi will be salty. Just add a little bit more radish. Now this is ready to be stuffed. So don't cut it too deep because you want the cabbage to hold together. Okay, so just grab some and then put on the thickest part of the cabbage and it just spread down like that. This part doesn't need much, so most of the stuffing mix should stay there in the white part. Just brush it like this. And then once it's done, you're going to fold this into half. And open the outermost leaf to wrap it nicely. And just squeeze a little bit, just gently to take any air out. How beautiful is this? Just get one of these tender yellow leaf off and put some radish mix. Roll it up. Who wants to try this? Okay. When you store kimchi should be cut side up, the white part cut side up, so the kimchi seasoning can stay within. Okay, this is my last one. Beautiful, right? Just think about when this becomes well fermented and sour, all these kimchi dishes you can make. A kimchi fried rice, kimchi pancake, kimchi stew. If this is too big to fit in your jar, there's a little trick. This is 1/4 now, we're gonna do 1/8. Like that. Just keep it nicely, but now it's easier to put into your jar. But I will put this together. And also later, you don't need this much kimchi at once. You can just take one out. Kimchi is done. Press it down. And then I save this to the large green leaf to cover it. nicely. Leave some room at the top because kimchi will expand as it ferments. Leave it at room temperature for a day or two and then keep in the fridge. Kimchi should be fermented at low temperature with a minimal exposure to air. It really takes 2 to 3 weeks to fully develop flavor with lots of healthy bacteria. Doable, right? Let me know if you try it.